Hey everyone, Paso here. Thought I'd just do a little quick video on why I'm excited for Jedi Survivor, which is the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, which is coming out on the 28th, so 2 days from when I'm recording this now. Yeah, I just thought I'd make a little video on it because, I don't know, it's interesting and stuff like that. So, the first reason why I am excited would have to be because we haven't had a AAA Star Wars game in like a few years now. The last one I can probably think of would probably have been Star Wars Squadrons, which I didn't play at launch, but I did get around to playing eventually. Also, sorry if I sound a bit sick. I am. It's getting a bit cold where I am. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, so sorry, no, what was I saying? Star Wars Squadrons, that was the first game, the latest game that I played, which was like a AAA Star Wars game. And that was a really good game. It's a shame that service to that sort of ended when it did, but I did sort of play it in the sort of like, I don't want to say afterlife of the game, but sort of like the near ending of it all, sort of like before the last update that they did, and that was a very enjoyable game. I think a lot of people probably didn't play it because it was very sort of different. I know in Star Wars Battlefront 2, which was the game which came out before that, the 2018 one, of course, a lot of people didn't really like the Starfighter Assault mode and stuff like that, and those that did found it to be a little bit shallow. So I guess that's what Squadrons was like. It was a love letter to those fans there. And yeah, it was a really good game. As someone like myself who doesn't really normally play sort of like flight sim kind of games, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. The controls were pretty cool. The different weapons and customization for vehicles was all pretty unique and stuff like that. So if you haven't played that yet, I would say it's even just worth picking up for the story. But yeah, that's enough about that. Yeah, so we haven't had a AAA Star Wars game in a few years now, so it'll be good to be able to get my hands on a new one for that matter. My second reason, which has a few little sort of little plots here, is the game is going to be improving a lot of the features from the first one, and that's quite significant. So I've just got some little things here in no particular order. So the first one I've just got here is improved combat. So the first game had some pretty good combat. It was fun, it was sort of enjoyable. You could do some different combos and stuff like that. Spoilers, but you can, when you get a double-sided lightsaber towards the end of the game, you can do some fancy stuff with that, between like switching blades, and I don't know, at one point you can pull your lightsaber apart and like do a double-handed one, but that's only very brief. But yeah, it's very cool combat in the first game, but it was quite shallow once you sort of knew what you're doing, and I guess that's the sort of crutch of anything really. Once you know what you're doing, it sort of becomes less. But yeah, anyways, the newer game, Survivor, coming out, is introducing I believe several different stances that you can switch to. So the first one only had single blade and double blade, whereas the sequel here is going to have, I believe, single blade, double blade, twin blade, so like two separate lightsabers, the crossguard like Kylo Ren. I'll put up a little picture of that there. And I believe yes, and then there was a single blade with a gun, which I believe is sort of late game kind of that's like a late game unlockable there, because I do believe you only start off with the single blade and double blade, and you'll be able to like pick like save two of those stances, any of the, yes, there's 5 I believe. You'll be able to save any of those 2 stances, any of the 5, sorry, you'll be able to save 2 of them to like your little like button to switch stances and stuff like that. So I guess that'll make for some interesting gameplay. And a video I was watching the other day from Azatru, he covers a lot of sort of Star Wars games and stuff like that. He's done a great job with that. But yeah, he was sort of saying that it might allow for multiple playthroughs. I believe that was him. If not, it might have been the Aussie Jedi, either one of those channels. But go check both of them out. They're both pretty good to watch if you want to follow the game a bit more intensely. Yeah, so basically all these different stances will bring a lot more depth to the combat. So like the single blade, for example, is like pretty standard. I believe there's like different difficulties between them. So I'd say the single blade would probably be the standard one, and double blade probably wouldn't be too far from that. I don't expect those two to be much different from the first game, with maybe a little bit more depth in them. But yeah, the other games like the crossguard one is sort of like a I don't know if you would imagine like a big sort of like double-handed sword kind of thing. Somewhat like that. The twin blades, I believe, are like sort of sharp, sort of quick moves and stuff like that, but a lot less damage and stuff like that. So I guess that all just adds a lot more replayability to the game. So that's something I'm also looking forward to. Fallen Order had a little bit of replayability. I mean, you could go back to areas and stuff like that, but the blades that you could use, obviously there was the only 2 of them, so it was like, I don't know, kind of repetitive there. But that's pretty much for that. I will also say as well, I do enjoy the Souls-like combat that the Jedi series has had. So Fallen Order, I really enjoyed that, and Jedi Survivor, again, I'm looking forward to it so much, because normal Dark Souls games, which is where the term Souls-like combat comes from, they're pretty difficult. Elden Ring, yeah, I'll be the first to say I wasn't the biggest fan of that. It was a little bit difficult for my liking. Then again, I didn't really understand how all the weapons and stuff like that worked in that game there, so that's probably my own fault for using like inefficient weapons and stats and all that sort of stuff like that. The second reason why I think that the game is improving, or what the game is improving from the first one, should I say, is fast travel. So the first game didn't have that. You had to sort of run all the way from the start of the level all the way to the end and all the way back again. Whereas now this game is introducing fast travel, which will reduce backtracking significantly, I would hope. So that's something that's positive. That's a positive change that I'm looking forward to as well. It was particularly annoying when trying to 100% Fallen Order, trying to go back into levels and find, like, because you can see what you haven't discovered yet, like there's like a little percentage thing of each sort of sub area within a level on the map, and like you can go back to that area, but then you'll spend a little bit of time sort of meandering around, wandering around, and I'd say a big part of that was the map, probably like the actual like little holo map that you were able to look at with your little droid BD1. The map wasn't that well, that holo map specifically, I mean, wasn't all that well designed, and a few other people have sort of said that it was a bit confusing at times and stuff like that. You had multiple layers and stuff on top of each other, sandwiched and that, so it was a bit confusing at times. But yeah, so fast travel I'm really looking forward to. And my last little thing on how this game is going to be improving from Fallen Order is semi-linear worlds. So what I mean by that is, I believe they are sort of, as the name suggests, semi-linear, but they're going to be a little bit more open, kind of like God of War, Ragnarok, and I suppose God of War, a lot of people have sort of described it as. And I played the first God of War when it came to PC, sorry, like God of War, like 4, for all of you like diehard God of War fans out there. My apologies there. But yeah, the semi-linear worlds are pretty fun to explore. And with the first one, like, they were really fun to explore, but yeah, that was very much just like going the straight line, and then it was sort of like once you'd been there, I don't know, you might be stopped because you don't have a certain ability or something like that, and you have to come back later. But then yeah, it was really just like a straight line, which I think is why backtracking was quite annoying, because you're just running through the exact same sort of spot the entire time. And yeah, so it's that with combination of fast travel will be good, and as well, like, the worlds are pretty like sizable for the type of game that it is, seeing it's an open world game, and you've got some like sort of traversal things, which I didn't write down but I did remember just now. You can like tame some creatures and stuff like that, which I think should help with exploring the worlds. Obviously I don't think that was really needed in the first one, sorry, just because the maps were very sort of linear and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much all for how this game is improving from the first one. My third little dot point here is the interesting story. From what I've seen from the trailers and stuff, it seems like we're going to be in for quite a little bit of a ride here. We've got a High Republic era character, and for those of you who don't know, there is a book series for the High Republic. It's like when the Jedi were in their peak of all things and stuff like that, so it's interesting seeing a character from there appear. The latest trailer sort of shown that he might have been a bit of or he's going to be a bit of an antagonist, so we'll see about that. Maybe we work with him, we're not sure. We'll just have to see when the game releases on the 28th. And also, I'm also interested to see the growth of the characters. Fallen Order did a really good job with its storytelling and its characters. It really showed how they developed, with both their personal sort of struggles and also just their like I guess, ability to work as a team. I mean, Cal, for instance, he had to grow up on this like ship yard sort of planet. They like take apart ships and stuff like that. And yeah, so it's he and was like working on his own, sort of was very untrustworthy of people there. But then by the end of Fallen Order, you see that he's sort of grown to trust everyone around him and stuff like that. And that was a really good, I guess, nice little development there. So hopefully we have a bit more of that. I guess we're also going to see some sort of ethical, moral sort of issues that Cal is going to face. You know, does he stay with his sort of Jedi beliefs, or does he move with the times and sort of face what's ahead of him in the present? I know some of those Jedi sort of beliefs and stuff like that come up in the first game a bit about like what's right, you know, should we do this and that. Not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't played it, specifically one of my friends, so in case he's watching. But yeah, and the final thing that I'm excited for Jedi Survivor is that it expands the Star Wars universe. We've seen, obviously, with the High Republic era character, and there's some other things in the trailer and stuff like that. It expands on what we already know, which I really sort of, I value that, as opposed to some sort of what's been happening with Disney, a bit sort of going back with a comb and just using old things and stuff like that. No doubt that'll happen a little bit in Jedi Survivor, but I don't know, it seems to a significantly less extent than what we've sort of been used to in the sort of cinematic world of Star Wars and stuff like that. Particularly with The Mandalorian, if you've seen that, with it seems it's using cameos as a bit of a crutch there, but look, saying that as well with The Mandalorian, I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, I felt like they might have had to do that with the way that story sort of developed and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much all for today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll probably maybe release maybe the first, like, a video on like the first 30 minutes when I play the game initially. I might not have narration over it just because I like to enjoy games on my own the first time round, but I might look at some stuff there and maybe do some videos on Jedi Survivor. So if you want to see that, do subscribe. Also check out, as I said, As a True and the Aussie Jedi. They both, that's where I got a lot of my information from. So yeah, if they probably have a lot more there if you're interested in hearing about that. But yeah, anyways, have a nice rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.